This is the story of a half-baked god of death who sold himself to capitalism. He has to work as an exorcist and even carry a huge debt left behind by his father. This god of death has to do all sorts of jobs to make ends meet, from janitor, bodyguard, to even a male escort. Exactly today, this girl named Sakura thought that everything would change once she entered high school. But apparently, it didn't. The ghosts were still clinging to her in class. She and her friend talked about the student sitting next to Sakura who had been absent from school continuously. Surprisingly, he showed up today, but in a very strange outfit. This is Rinne. However, only Sakura could see him, so she thought he was a ghost. Then he summoned a giant dog. Rinne performed a ritual to guide it to the afterlife, and suddenly, it swallowed Rinne whole and flew away. Sakura was watching, completely confused. Even after school, her brain still hadn't caught up. The next day, when Sakura arrived at school, she met Rinne again. This time, it seemed like everyone could see him. The teacher asked about Rinne wearing the wrong uniform, and Rinne made an excuse that if he bought luxury items, he would be condemned to hell. On the rooftop, her friend Rika showed Sakura her newly bought phone. It wouldn't be anything special if there weren't a strange number constantly calling Rika. The voice kept urging her to go to the gymnasium. When Sakura looked over, she saw something suspicious emanating from the phone. In the following days, Rika couldn't take the disturbing phone calls anymore. Even after blocking the number, it somehow still kept calling. Just then, Rinne passed by. He said there's a place that accepts such cases, behind the school in the garden. There's an unused thermometer box, just put in a request letter along with an offering, and the problem will be solved. Rika felt helpless, so she had no choice but to try it. As for me, I thought changing the SIM card would solve everything. When they put the offering into the box, Rinne casually walked up and took the items out to eat. Sakura's two friends couldn't see anyone and thought it was a spirit, so they ran away. Only Sakura could see Rinne, so she grabbed him and questioned him why he could appear and disappear like a ghost, and what that cloak was. Rinne explained it was a cloak of the underworld, something that turns a human into a ghost-like form. Sakura understood that part temporarily, but she still questioned why Rinne made up the request box and deceived them to get offerings. Rinne said it was his way of making a living, and he still completed the requests written in the letters. At that moment, the phone Rika forgot rang. Rinne sensed the lingering thoughts of an unrested spirit. He answered, and the spirit again asked him to go to the gym. However, they waited and no one came. Rinne guessed the person had died before being able to arrive. He took out a spirit world tin can phone, a device used to communicate with spirits. Rinne had bought it for 70 yen. He told Sakura to go home, he'd handle the rest. She offered to help, but he didn't need it. Just because she could see them doesn't mean she knew how to deal with them. Rinne's job was to guide souls that couldn't move on toward reincarnation. Although he spoke coolly, he didn't have enough money to make the call, so he borrowed money from Sakura. They then proceeded to where the call came from. This space is called the Spirit Path, a realm that transcends time and space to connect with spirits. Rinne made the call and found the ghost. That spirit had been repeating the same action every day. Rinne would change that. He used this cloak. When a living person wears it, they become a ghost. When a dead person wears it, they become a ghost with a physical form, meaning ordinary people can also see them. They then transferred the ghost to the gym, just like he wanted. However, the ghost didn't remember who he was waiting for. If this kept up, he would remain attached to the mortal world forever. Just then, Teacher Suzuki showed up. After hearing about Rinne's situation, he brought Rinne some new clothes. Rinne acted cold, but inside he was very happy. At that moment, the ghost kept staring at Rinne's clothes. These clothes belonged to Teacher Suzuki's late friend. When Sakura asked for more details, the teacher explained that his friend also had the same name, Suzuki, so the two of them had accidentally worn each other's gym uniforms. And when that friend was on his way to return it, he got into an accident. Because he still felt guilty, Teacher Suzuki had kept the uniform all these years. Sakura made the ghost reveal his form. After confirming, it turned out that this really did belong to him. Although Rinne was very reluctant, he had no choice but to return it. After that, the boy felt fulfilled and passed on. Finally, the teacher understood the reason why he had been getting so many missed calls lately. It turned out it was Suzuki calling. so the teacher changed his SIM card. Unluckily, the new owner of the SIM was Sakura's friend. On the way home, Sakura encountered the ghost who kept chatting with her every day. Rin warned him to pass on quickly, saying that if he remained in the mortal world, he would become an evil spirit. But the ghost didn't want to go. He had spent his entire life buried in studies, never knowing love until he died, and meeting Sakura made him very happy. At the time, Sakura had mistaken him for a living person and greeted him. Rin wanted to force him to pass on, and at that moment, the ghost fused with a dog and turned into an evil spirit. It started attacking Sakura, so Rin took her into another world. This place was the boundary, the realm between this world and the next. In front of her was the wheel of reincarnation. The evil spirit continued to chase them. Because he was broke again, Rin borrowed 500 yen from Sakura to perform the exorcism. He then exchanged the 500 yen for a reincarnation wheel and sent the evil spirit away. Sakura had a feeling she had been there before. She asked Rin who he really was. He said he was someone who guides souls, or she could call him a god of death. The next day, Sakura returned the phone to Rika. Lately, everyone had been having the same dream. A skull-headed girl threatened them, saying if they didn't offer things in the thermometer box at school, they would be cursed. Sakura suspected Rin, and indeed he was profiting greatly as many people were now offering food. Sakura grabbed him by the ear and dragged him away. Of course, he was poor, but not so poor that he had to threaten people. Behind Sakura were two girls, and one of them was possessed. Rin used a feather duster to sweep the spirit off and helped the lazy spirit pass on. In return for the exorcism, Rin received offerings. So it wasn't really fraud. Sakura brought up a strange dream, and suddenly behind Rin, a gate appeared and someone stepped out. Rin called her grandma, which made her angry, and she punished him. Sakura realized this was the person who kept appearing in her dreams. She had come to take Rin back because he was living such a hard life. Sakura thought Rin's grandma looked a bit too young for her title. At first, the grandma was pleased, then surprised that Sakura could see her. Of course, the threats in the dreams were her doing, just to make life a little easier for her grandson. Rin told her he didn't need her to worry about him, so she took all the offerings, saying that she was the one who made it happen anyway. Rin chased after her to get them back, and by accident, Sakura grabbed onto Rin's cloak and followed him into the other realm. While flying, Rin's cloak tore and Sakura fell into a forest. Rin dove down to find her, but couldn't. Meanwhile, Sakura met a rabbit that wanted to take her somewhere. Rin returned to his grandma and asked for help. She summoned 4 crows to split up and search for Sakura. The rabbit took Sakura to a place full of elderly people. It had stolen a boat and brought her along. Sakura again felt a strange sense of familiarity, as if she had been there before. One of the crows found Sakura's location and returned to report. Grandma told Rin that Sakura had been taken near the Gate of Serenity, a place for people who are ready to pass on with no attachments. If they didn't act quickly, Sakura would be affected by the satisfaction of others and move on too. Sakura was lining up to board the wheel of reincarnation. The elderly people saw she was too young to have died so early and felt it was a pity. Sakura felt like something was wrong, but still went along with it. She began to step up the stairs, happily approaching the wheel of reincarnation, thinking she had no more regrets. From afar, Rin rushed over, calling her name. He was suddenly attacked. Sakura heard Rin's voice and began to have doubts. She held his cloak and remembered everything. She needed to return it to Rin, and so Sakura was sent back because she still had lingering attachments. Just before she hit the ground, Rin managed to catch her. The rabbit hadn't given up and continued its attack, scattering bubbles around them and causing them to explode. Then it used a giant carrot to attack. Since he didn't have his scythe, Rin used pepper powder to fight back. The rabbit countered and threw it all back at Rin. With no other choice, he had to use that thing. Just when the rabbit was feeling smug, Rin took out a flintlock gun and shot it, making it explode and fly away. Seeing the creature, Sakura suddenly remembered everything back when she visited Grandma's place. She had met it, and it had taken her to explore the boundary realm. Right when it was about to make a move on her, someone had stopped it. Rin brought Sakura back. and she told him that she had indeed come here once before. Rinne's grandma said that the rabbit was a corrupted god of death rather than helping souls pass on. It lured people into dying to meet monthly quotas. When Sakura was little, she had been saved by someone who looked very much like Rinne's grandma, and it was clearly her. Ever since being saved, Sakura had been able to see spirits. Though she didn't know why, Rinne's grandma recalled that she had fed Sakura lots of things from this realm when she was young, and eating anything here gives one the ability to see spirits. Rinne apologized for his grandma's actions, but Sakura said she was glad to finally know the reason. Rinne then took Sakura home. She asked why he didn't live with his grandma, and Rinne said that his grandma was a god of death, while he was a human or something like that. That night, Sakura kept pondering what Rinne had said. The first time they met, he told her he was a god of death, but now he said he wasn't. Curious, she asked Rinne for a proper explanation the next day. So, 50 years ago, Rinne's grandma was doing her usual duties, but because of her weakness for handsome men, she fell in love with a man who was about to die. He was very happy to meet such a beautiful woman at the end of his life, saying that even if he were to be reborn as a cockroach, it would be worth it. But she told him his next life would be as a mackerel. His smile was so beautiful that she fell in love with him. After that, she used her connections to extend his life by 50 years, and that man became Rinne's grandfather. At the end of this spring, he had to step onto the wheel of reincarnation. He was probably now swimming with the other mackerel. That's the situation with Rinne. As for his parents, he didn't know. When he was young, he lived with his grandfather. That night, Sakura felt bad for asking such a personal question. Rinne lived alone, so that might be why he had such a hard life. The phone rang. It was from Sakura's friend, Miho. She said she had seen a ghost. She had gone back to school earlier to pick something up and saw a ghostly flame in the old club building. Even though she had run away, she wanted to go back and check again, so she asked Sakura to go with her the next day. The next day, the three of them went to the old building that was about to be demolished. A giant cat appeared and scared all three of them. Terrified, Miho and Rika ran away. Sakura was surprised that they could see it. Rinne appeared and fought with the cat, eventually driving it away. That evening on the way home, Sakura encountered a black cat. Seeing that it was injured, she took it home, treated its wounds, and gave it food. When she left the room, the cat drank milk with its paws. When she returned, she saw it trying to carry off a bowl of rice. It jumped straight into a spiritual path, and Sakura chased after it. While chasing, she noticed that the cat seemed to be growing in size. The spirit path led to the old club building, and inside there were ghostly flames. Sakura burst in and found the cat bringing food back to Rinne. Rinne's poverty was on a whole other level. He was living in an abandoned building, using candles for light because he couldn't pay the electricity bill. When the school security guard showed up, Rinne had to hide to avoid getting kicked out. He told the cat to leave because its job was done. The cat refused, saying that it had been ordered by Lady Tamaki, that is, Rinne's grandma, to serve him. It even had a contract. The cat tribe's duty was always to assist gods of death, and its name was Rokuman. All Rinne had to do was sign the contract, and it would serve him. Rinne refused, saying he couldn't even take care of himself, let alone a cat. Both of them would just starve to death. Rokuman wouldn't accept that and tried everything to force Rinne to sign. It used fingerprints from a doorknob and even threatened him, but Rinne coldly rejected all of it and threw it away. Rinne then took Sakura home through the spirit path. Rokuman was waiting there. It really cared about Rinne. His grandfather had passed on, and his grandmother could no longer live in the human world. She had sworn only to stay in the human world until Rinne's grandfather passed away. Besides that, Rinne's grandma had another vow: she had to fulfill 10 times the KPI of a normal god of death in order to get married. If she failed, then her descendants would have to do it in her place. At that time, his grandmother happily agreed. Of course, she couldn't fulfill it, so Rinne could be seen as repaying her debt. In addition, Rinne was a half-god of death, being a hybrid between a god of death and a human. Although he was good at the tasks of a god of death, he had to use more tools than a normal god of death, and those tools were not cheap. Wanting to help Rinne, Rokuman asked Sakura for a favor. The next day, she brought many people to the old club building. The plan was for Rokuman to appear and scare everyone. Then Rinne would come to the rescue, and everyone would donate a lot of money to him. However, Rinne stopped the scheme from behind the scenes. He had received a letter from his grandmother stating that Rokuman had been fired. She told him that Rokuman had come to him looking for a job. Rinne had no choice but to refuse because he couldn't afford to feed it. Though a bit sad, Rokuman said it would do one last job before leaving, but Rinne stopped it. Meanwhile, as Sakura was guiding the others, she saw teacher Suzuki overseeing the demolition of the old building because it was too old. Suddenly, a swarm of rats appeared. Merging into a rat spirit, it attacked Sakura, and Rinne quickly rushed in to take her away. He borrowed 500 yen from her to buy exorcism tools, but since she forgot her wallet, there was nothing they could do. Without tools, Rinne couldn't do anything. Both were struck by the rat. From above, Rokuman went all out and crushed the rat, killing it. Rinne was overjoyed at having saved 500 yen. In the end, the school decided to temporarily postpone the demolition of the building. Rokuman said goodbye to Rinne, but Rinne decided to keep him after all since when he had no money, he would need someone to help exorcise spirits. And so, in Rinne's life of eating only 3 out of 9 meals, there was now one more companion. In the days that followed, Sakura's class buzzed with talk about a new transfer student. Outside, Rinne received a letter asking for help. A ghost appeared above, crying for help. Rinne flew up to ask what was wrong, but suddenly the ghost was attacked and vanished. Rinne was also attacked. Holy ashes were thrown at him, weakening him, so he had to flee. At that moment, the ghost reappeared. It hadn't been exorcised, but had managed to escape. Rokuman checked and confirmed that the ashes were indeed holy ashes used specifically against evil spirits. The attacker had also dropped something. Rinne checked. It was a photo of Sakura as a child. In class, the new student was Tsubasa. As soon as he arrived, he approached Sakura, but she didn't remember who he was. Tsubasa had great affection for Sakura. When he was young, he had to move frequently because of his family's work and couldn't make any friends. He could also see spirits, which made him uncomfortable. Meeting Sakura felt like he had found his soulmate. Back to the present, Tsubasa confessed to Sakura. The whole class buzzed because they thought Sakura was dating Rinne. The two were always together. As soon as Rinne entered the class, Tsubasa used holy ashes to exorcise him. Rinne didn't care and returned the photo to him. Rinne warned him about his method of exorcising spirits, but Tsubasa thought Rinne was trying to steal Sakura. After school, Tsubasa invited Sakura to walk home together, but she ran off with Rinne instead. She wanted to help him with today's request. He told her not to concern herself with his business and left. After that, Rinne began working on the ghost's request. Rokuman didn't see Sakura around and went to find her. He returned and reported that she was with Tsubasa. Rinne didn't care, but the ghost and Rokuman did, so they dragged him along to watch. Before they could see anything, Tsubasa threw holy ashes at Rinne again, which made him angry, so he left. The next day, Rokuman went to Sakura. Meanwhile, Rinne brought the ghost to see Miho. It turned out the ghost's final wish was to go on a date with a girl before passing on. While they were talking, Tsubasa suddenly jumped out, intending to exorcise the ghost. Sakura stepped in to stop him. Seeing this, Miho suggested a group outing. Tsubasa agreed, using it as a chance to go out with Sakura. After the matter was settled, Rinne left. Rokuman wanted to join the outing too, but with no money even for food, how could they go anywhere? At that moment, Rika showed up. On the day off, the whole group gathered at the amusement park. Sakura was quite surprised that Rinne was also there, while he didn't want to be there at all. While playing, he had to pay for the ghost and also be gentlemanly with the girls poor and getting even poorer. That girl Rika, who normally offered less than anyone during spirit offerings, was now wasting money on pointless games. Seeing her struggling to grab a plushie, Rinne did it for her. Sakura wanted one too, so he got one for her as well. Everyone had a lot of fun. Tsubasa gradually began to change his view on the ghost, and they started taking commemorative photos together. Since regular cameras couldn't capture ghosts, Rinne had to rent one from the spirit realm, which wasn't cheap at all. After taking the pictures, it seemed like it was finally time for the ghost to move on. He rode the Ferris wheel with the 3 girls as fireworks lit up the sky. Then he said his goodbyes to everyone. Even though she had just met a ghost, Miho didn't feel scared at all. With everything wrapped up, Rin returned home and took on extra jobs to cover his expenses, while Sakura hugged the plush toy Rin had won for her. The next day, Rokuman happily returned from the spirit realm, bringing with him a wanted poster for an evil spirit worth 100,000 yen. It was too good to pass up, so Rin immediately accepted the job. Meanwhile, back in Sakura's classroom, strange handprints were appearing all over the place. Tsubasa checked and concluded they looked like a child's handprints. He threw holy ash at the blackboard, forcing the evil spirit to flee in pain only to run into Rin. Rin picked up the reward and ran home. But when he opened it, he found a little girl inside. Oddly, Rin didn't sense anything about her that made her worth 100,000 yen. The girl introduced herself as Hanako, the famous toilet ghost. However, 5 years ago, she had been driven out of her favorite bathroom by none other than that cursed Tsubasa, forcing her to wander ever since. Rin told her she needed to pass on, but Hanako refused to do so until she got revenge on Tsubasa. After that, Hanako suddenly unleashed a suspicious amount of power. Someone was clearly supplying her with energy. Tsubasa tried throwing holy ash again, but Hanako blocked it. She tied him up with sanitary pads and flushed him away with toilet water. Then she left with the real evil spirit worth 100,000 yen, and her revenge was only just beginning. Rin couldn't allow 100,000 yen to run amok, so he had to catch it. But first, he needed to gather information. Know your enemy, win every battle. Rin asked his grandmother and found out that the evil spirit's name was Toichi, a conglomeration of many evil spirits. She needed Rin to separate Hanako from Toichi. Borrowing power like that was like taking a high-interest loan. 10% interest in 10 days meant Hanako would pay a hefty price. Since she was originally a harmless ghost, she didn't deserve this fate. Now Rin had to prepare thoroughly for the hunt. But where would he get the money? Weapons from the spirit realm were all expensive. Meanwhile, in the human world, Hanako began causing chaos in bathrooms. Tsubasa had prepared a new generation exorcism weapon. As soon as he found Hanako, he opened fire non-stop. The girl ran out and called out to Toichi for help. Just as it was about to supply her with power, Rin stepped in and warned her about the consequences of borrowing power if she couldn't pay back in time. She'd be absorbed. Toichi had grown so large by absorbing naive ghosts like her. Tsubasa arrived and fired at Toichi, causing it to split into multiple smaller forms. Rin tossed Hanako to Tsubasa, and Rokuman returned with a heavy-duty weapon, a scythe. This scythe originally belonged to Rin, but he had pawned it off due to poverty. Despite its intimidating appearance, any evil spirit struck by it would feel relieved and agree to pass on. The Toichi clones started getting nervous and began holding a strategy meeting. Then they charged at Hanako to absorb her power. Tsubasa stepped forward and sincerely apologized to Hanako for what he did in the past. He pulled out his Bible not to read prayers, but to repeatedly whack Toichi over the head with it. In pain, Toichi finally allowed Rin to perform the exorcism. Receiving Tsubasa's heartfelt apology, Hanako no longer held any grudges and followed Rin to the Wheel of Reincarnation. Rin was happier than ever. He was about to pocket 100,000 yen. However, the pawnshop owner had already taken the entire reward as payment for the damages caused by Rokuman smashing his window and for delivery fees. Recently, Miho had heard a rumor about a mysterious shrine. The day before, she helped a girl scratch her back, and in return, the girl told her about a nearby shrine. If you hear a child's voice there, don't approach or touch anything. Out of curiosity, Miho invited Sakura and Rika to go check it out. Sure enough, they heard cries for help when they arrived. The other two ran ahead, and some hands started reaching out. Sakura ran to find Rin. When she found him, he was in the middle of helping an injured man whose wounds were caused by his younger brother. Rin decided to deal with that case first. When they arrived at his house, they found that his parents had also been injured, and his little brother had been possessed by a cat spirit. Since it wasn't an evil spirit, Rin asked Rokuman to bring the scythe. Because the scythe didn't directly cut through human bodies, it could be used safely. However, Rin missed the slash and accidentally broke the scythe. The cat spirit scratched his face before fleeing. Tsubasa chased after it. While Rin lamented the repair cost, Rokuman tried to come up with a quick fix. The friend explained that the little brother had been going out like that every night, and whenever they tried to stop him, they got attacked. Additionally, several classmates had gone missing, 4 of them to be exact. Besides his younger brother, only one of the missing kids was still safe. Later, Sakura spoke with Rokuman, and Tsubasa continued to chase the cat spirit into a residential area which, coincidentally, turned out to be the friend's house. Meanwhile, Sakura took Rokuman to a shrine, where it turned out that the boy, his friends, and even the one supposedly safe child were all imprisoned. Tsubasa was ambushed by 2 cat spirits and rendered immobile. Rin arrived to rescue him, wielding a patched-up scythe. The cat-possessed kids recounted how they were lured into opening the shrine by a woman in a kimono while on their way home from school. That shrine had actually been sealing away the 2 cat spirits. Once freed, the spirits immediately began possessing the kids. Rokuman looked them up in the Encyclopedia of Cat Spirits and found their identities as well as the method to reseal them. But Rin couldn't fight properly with a broken scythe. First, he freed Tsubasa, then tossed a flaming wheel to distract the spirits. Sakura arrived. Rokuman tried to scare the cats off, but got scared instead. Sakura then told Rin the method to seal them again. Simply place their favorite food inside the shrine, and they would return on their own. Unfortunately, their favorite food was salmon, which was too expensive. Rin came up with an idea. He shook the broken scythe to attract the cat's attention, then lured both of them back to the shrine. But just then, the woman in the kimono appeared and attacked, sucking Rin inside along with the cats. The children pointed her out, and she revealed herself to be a fallen shinigami. Having captured the grandchild of a strong shinigami, she considered this a worthy prize. As she tried to carry off the shrine, Tsubasa grabbed it and broke it to free Rin, paying back his debt. The cat spirits went berserk and attacked Rin, but Tsubasa had figured out how to deal with them. He called a delivery service to bring a 30,000 yen serving of salmon, something Rin and even the narrator had never tasted in their lives. As the cats devoured the meal, Tsubasa scattered catnip around them, calming them down until they passed on peacefully. After his battle with Toichi, Tsubasa had been rethinking his methods of exorcism. Maybe violence wasn't always the answer. They later repaired the shrine, and Rokuman took advantage of the leftover tuna to bring some home. After receiving the quest reward, Rin and Rokuman went to buy a new scythe. Meanwhile, the fallen shinigami returned to report the situation to her superior. The next day, on her way home, Sakura encountered a ghost with its head stuck in a utility pole. Suddenly, a vampire appeared, said something about a curse, wrote on the ghost's forehead, and dragged it away. The following day, Sakura went to see Rin. He had just received a request to lift a curse. The sender's boyfriend had suffered a motorcycle accident 3 days earlier. She needed to explain things in more detail, so she asked Rin to meet her on the rooftop. When they arrived, surprisingly, 2 other people had also been summoned by letters from the same sender. Sakura checked and found that both letters had similar handwriting and the same spelling mistake, I-chan. Suddenly, the girl was grabbed and nearly pulled down by the ghost from the day before. She managed to throw it off, and it fled. Here's the situation. The girl is Suzu, her classmate is Tomoya, and the ghost was her boyfriend Ryuji. Upon realizing it was Ryuji's spirit, Suzu was confused because Ryuji was still alive. The motorcycle accident mentioned was actually just Ryuji slipping and hitting his head on a pole while walking his bike. Rin examined Ryuji's body and found that he wouldn't wake up. What he was afflicted by was called a living soul. His spirit had left his body while still alive. To bring him back, they simply needed to retrieve his soul. When Ryuji's soul riding a motorcycle showed up, he was furious, thinking Suzu and Tomoya were dating behind his back while he was unconscious. Rin quickly used a vacuum to try to suck the soul back in, but someone interfered and stopped him. A demon suddenly appeared, seemingly someone Rin knew. He hadn't forgotten his grudge and had long awaited this day for revenge. The story began 6 years ago. When they were in 4th grade, that summer, the demon had an assignment to collect hopeless souls and send them to hell. He once found a dying rabbit, but just as he was about to collect it, Rin showed up. Back then, Rin was still financially well off because his grandfather was alive. Rin gave the rabbit a carrot, which instantly revived it. Furious, the demon tried to attack, but was easily repelled by Rinne. For the entire summer, Rinne never let him collect a single soul. As a result, the demon was scolded and held back a grade, determined to get revenge at any cost. He now called himself Masato, though he even spelled his name wrong. Masato declared that he would take Ryuji's soul as payback for the rabbit, chicken, and crocodile souls he lost back then. Sakura found him childish and petty, and Masato proudly claimed that no one was pettier than him. Rinne chased after him, but Masato quickly lost him in the spirit path. Back home, they realized they had to act fast. If the soul remained separated from the body too long, it would become an evil spirit. Rinne agreed to take on the job for free, feeling personally responsible. Sakura found a card Masato had thrown out. Rokuman examined it and discovered it was Masato's bank card, with the pin written right on it. Jackpot. They planned to withdraw all his money. Sakura couldn't tell if Masato was truly that dumb or just pretending. The next day, Ryuji's soul began to curse Suzu, while she only got graffiti all over her notebooks. Tomoya got run over by a car. Enraged, Suzu declared she'd never forgive Ryuji. Hearing this, Ryuji grew dejected and ran off. Sakura chased after him to talk. Masato stoked the flames further by handing Ryuji a photoshopped picture of Suzu and Tomoya kissing. It was obviously fake, but Ryuji believed it. Rokuman revealed that Masato had cursed Ryuji using a charm even though the writing was incorrect. The curse still worked and was distorting Ryuji's mind. Masato then attacked Sakura, but Rinne arrived just in time to save her. He had gone to the spirit realm and bought a charm to break the curse on Ryuji. Though freed, Ryuji couldn't forget what he'd done. Before being taken away, he asked Sakura to tell Suzu to throw it away. Masato took him, and Rinne gave chase. Meanwhile, Sakura returned to Suzu to figure out what Ryuji meant. It turned out that day was Suzu's birthday, so the thing Ryuji mentioned might be a gift. Sakura went to the accident site for clues, while Rinne pursued Masato to hell. There, he was chased by a demon for not having a demon passport. Fortunately, Rinne used a nearby crate of bananas to evade capture. Sakura reached the utility pole involved in the accident. Rokuman used a special paper to make it speak, but all it did was angrily curse at a dog for constantly peeing on it. Thinking the dog might hold a clue, they visited its home, and sure enough, the dog had a habit of hoarding things, including Ryuji's gift. It was a pair of couple rings, something Suzu loved. She burst into tears beside Ryuji's body, but Sakura still felt something wasn't right. Ryuji's soul had looked so resigned. In hell, Masato led Rinne into a chamber filled with jars containing Ryuji's soul. Rinne, unsure which was the real one, attacked Masato instead. Masato dodged, and the stray attack shattered a window belonging to a nearby demon. Enraged, the demon began rampaging. Masato had lured Rinne into a debt trap. Any damages incurred would be charged to the intruder, meaning Rinne couldn't leave hell until the repairs were paid. Masato tossed away the jar with Ryuji's soul, while Sakura and Rokuman also arrived in hell. This was capitalist hell, where rising populations led to increased crime. And to streamline processing, the bureaucracy had built government buildings. It looked no different from the human world with jobs and exams. They passed by the area Rinne had damaged, and repairs looked costly. But Rokuman wasn't worried. He had Masato's card, though Sakura suspected it might be a trap. When Rokuman tried to withdraw money, the ATM lit up. Meanwhile, Rinne continued being tricked by Masato and was slowly being pushed deeper into dead hell, where demons toiled endlessly with no return. Masato even stole Rinne's weapon. Rinne escaped and pursued him deeper as Masato continued his destruction. Just then, Sakura appeared with a massive pile of cash withdrawn from the ATM. Masato grinned. It was counterfeit money. If Rinne used it, he'd be thrown into hell's prison. Surprisingly, Rinne didn't use the money. He transformed it into a weapon and attacked Masato, then took back his scythe and gave Masato a beating. Rinne knew perfectly well that the money was counterfeit. When the security guard arrived, instead of asking who caused the commotion, he asked, "Who made the counterfeit money?" A very serious offense. Rokuman quickly pointed to Masato, but Rinne stopped him and covered for him. In return for this kindness, Masato paid for the repairs in Rinne's place. They succeeded in returning Ryuji, and Rin even praised Sakura for being a great help. The school festival began, gathering a huge crowd of both the living and the dead even objects. In class, Sakura asked Rin to help take out the trash, with Tsubasa trailing behind. While they were walking, Rin sensed something, and suddenly something flew out from the garbage and started causing chaos in the gym. Upon investigation, it turned out this entity had been causing trouble ever since the drama club cleaned out their old props. No matter how many times it was thrown away, it kept returning and attaching itself to people's heads. After examining it, Rin concluded it wasn't a vengeful spirit, but rather an object that had gained a soul after many years. Using an interdimensional seal, he discovered its desire. It was angry because its scene had been cut, and it wanted to perform its part. However, it couldn't remember any lines or which part it played, just that there was a pair of glass slippers among the props. They deduced it was from a Cinderella play, so they decided to reenact it. However, none of the girls wanted to wear the possessed wig. The club president volunteered, but the wig would only accept a girl, so it set its sights on Sakura, though she didn't know how to act. Sakura agreed if it would make the wig happy. Rin warned the wig to behave properly. The play began normally until the scene where the pumpkin carriage was summoned. The wig got angry and attacked Rin. He checked the script and noticed a few lines had been crossed out. When Sakura reviewed it, she realized the mistake. The carriage was so big back then they didn't need to bring in horses, and the wig had originally been used as a horse's tail. After that, they continued the play smoothly. Later, Rin sensed something again. While bringing offerings to the old school building, a pumpkin was already waiting there and asked Rin for help. Meanwhile, in class, Sakura overheard Miho and Rika talking about a girl who seemed to be talking to herself, meaning the other person must be a ghost. As soon as the word ghost was mentioned, Tsubasa showed up and started sprinkling holy ashes everywhere. The ghost fled, leaving behind a letter inviting the girl to the rooftop. Sakura followed and found the girl, Mary, being lured by the ghost to jump. Luckily, Rin arrived just in time to save her. The ghost turned out to be a corrupted shinigami. Mary woke up with no memory of what happened. The person she was talking to had been a very popular senior in the past. He suddenly approached her today, but Rin regretfully informed her that the boy had already died. The pumpkin-headed figure was his true form. On his way to the Wheel of Reincarnation, he had been tricked by the corrupted shinigami, who stole his face. Outside, the corrupted shinigami was luring more girls and eventually took them all to a castle. Though Sakura was worried, Rin had anticipated this and was sure the shinigami would return. Rin then disguised himself as a girl, as expected. The shinigami came back when he saw the love letter Rin had written, thinking Sakura had written it, and tried to abduct her. Rin attacked him, and when everyone rushed in, they were all taken away. Note that ordinary people couldn't see anything. Rika and Miho only saw things in a vague, distorted way. Inside the castle, many fake shinigami were gathered. Tsubasa had also been captured, along with the real shinigami and Rokumen. The cage was too big, allowing Rokumen to escape and throw the magic staff to Rin. After a few flips, Rin used a spell to break everyone free. The corrupted shinigami returned, and the senior was finally freed. All the girls swarmed to him. Rin then launched an attack on the shinigami, teaming up with Rokumen to take down the underlings and then defeat the ringleader. The shinigami rolled a giant pumpkin at Rin, but he quickly countered and sent it back, defeating him. Even in defeat, the shinigami was smug because the girls, upon learning the senior had died, said they wanted to die with him. However, the senior declined, saying he only liked older women. With his plan ruined, the corrupted shinigami perished as well. That evening, the senior thanked everyone and moved on to the afterlife. Thanks to his maid outfit, Rin also won the Most Beautiful Girl award and received a prize of 12 boxes of instant noodles. Today, Rokumen went to school and learned that defeating a corrupted shinigami would earn a reward. His teacher had caught a cold and passed it on to him, and when Rokumen returned to report to Rin, he infected him too. Sakura came to check on them, but since the illness only spreads among spirits, she had nothing to worry about. From the afterlife, 2 doctors sent by Rin's relatives came to treat him, but they were soon exposed as corrupted shinigami. Rin defeated them and demanded to know who sent them. Though they didn't intend to speak, A threat of infection forced them to comply. Just as they were about to reveal the name, a kunai suddenly flew in and silenced them. Rokumin would take them away to claim the reward. That afternoon, Sakura told Tsubasa about how Rin had taken on his grandmother's debt. The next day, Rokumin returned in a panic. Someone had already spent the reward money, and now they owed even more. When Sakura visited, a flood of debt notices came crashing in. From inside appeared Sabato, Rin's father. He casually said, "I spent all the money you earned." It was clear the father and son weren't on good terms, and the debt Rin carried came from his father. Sabato had taken out loans using Rin's name through a joint liability scheme, meaning when the father couldn't pay, the son would be responsible. Sabato told Rin he shouldn't live so harshly here and should return to the afterlife to manage the family company instead. Wouldn't that be easier? At that moment, two shinigami outside were rounding up people. Rin rushed out to save them, but his father snatched his scythe to rescue the two and revealed that he was the head of an illegal, corrupted shinigami company. He declared that Rin would eventually give up on the human world and return, and when that time came, he'd be waiting. Then he disappeared. Sakura was shocked that Rin's father was the leader of the corrupted shinigami, those who steal lifespans just to meet quotas. Rin's condition worsened. When he went to rest, he found that his father had stolen even his one valuable mat. Determined, he set out to find his father, with Sakura and Tsubasa joining him. On the way, Sabato used that very mat to trap them. He also revealed that Rin's mother was still alive, despite previously claiming she had died. When Rin was little, celebrating with his grandparents over finally clearing their debts, his father had secretly stolen the child's savings. His grandmother had kicked him out. Now, they reached Sabato's shady company. Sakura asked what Rin's mother was like, but Rin didn't remember. Sabato then led them to meet her, but instead presented a lineup of countless foster mothers. He had organized a contest to find Rin's mother, but clearly, he was just using this to find a new wife. All the women there were his girlfriends, both humans and shinigami, and their expenses were all funded by money stolen from Rin. Sabato took Sakura's group away. Now Rin had two choices: become a corrupted shinigami, get married, and inherit the company, or let Tsubasa and Sakura be sent to the Wheel of Reincarnation. Rin vanished and ran off to search for them. Sakura was locked in a room where plush animals were preparing to celebrate the new company director and intended to use Rin's money to buy food. Surprisingly, the room wasn't locked, so Sakura escaped to find Rin. At the time, he was being hunted by other shinigami. Just as he was surrounded, Tsubasa arrived to help. Rin left things to him and ran off, but Tsubasa got distracted by a Love Fortune booth. Meanwhile, Sakura, lost in the facility, stumbled upon two shinigami delivering food for the party. Tsubasa joined her, and they reached the wedding venue. Rin continued fighting with his father. Sabato asked why Rin wouldn't accept the marriage. Did he have someone he secretly liked? The question hit a nerve, leaving Rin speechless. Sabato gave him a condition. If Rin won, he could leave, but if he lost, he had to marry and take over the company. He summoned a more advanced version of the Wheel of Fire than Rin's. Father and son stood on the battle stage. This wheel had a unique ability. It could absorb anything and convert it into its original monetary value. Clothes, the scythe, even Rin's pants were turned into cash. Tsubasa handed Rin a pile of company dishes to throw. After all, they were company property. While Sakura was watching, a seal showed up and returned Rokumin to her. Around its neck was a note indicating the location of the director's office. Rin couldn't keep fighting like this forever. Downstairs, a delivery guy brought food, and Rin dashed over and hurled a whole slab of beef at his father. As money spewed out, Rin used wind to blow it all toward the delivery guy, delivering a psychological blow to his father. Still, Sabato held onto a fake seal bearing Rin's name, meaning he could continue borrowing under it once things settled down. Meanwhile, Sakura had found the director's office and discovered a safe. Even with a key, it required a passcode. A guard showed up, and Rokumin held him off while Sakura racked her brain. After a moment, she entered March 8, 10 Sabatu, Rin's father's name, and to her surprise, it worked. An alert was triggered, and all shinigami were sent to hunt Sakura. Rin tried to rush off, but his father held him back to continue the fight. tying him up with slime. Tsubasa was also busy holding off the incoming shinigami. Inside the safe was everything Sabato had stolen using the Wheel of Conversion. Meanwhile, Sabato was attempting to extract Rin's fingerprint. Sakura returned with Rin's scythe. Sabato tried to use the wheel again, but the seal stole it away. Suddenly, papers rained down from the ceiling marriage registration forms. Sabato splashed red ink on Rin and pushed him down, trying to seal the deal. He was ecstatic until he realized the forms were actually debt contracts under his own name, rendering them useless. As the women began storming the room, Sabato was overwhelmed and could do nothing. At last, he admitted defeat and let his son slap him across the face, clearly trying to get a fingerprint, but the seal stepped in to do it instead. And that seal turned out to be Rin's grandmother. She dealt with all the women and declared that Rin and Sakura were dating. Rin was flustered. While Sakura stayed completely calm, Sabato then burst in, shattering the awkward silence. The group returned home, leaving the cleanup to Grandma. They reclaimed the money Sabato had stolen, the fake seal, and other items, even though Rin knew she had lied. He couldn't help but feel a bit conflicted. Sakura remained calm and emotionally restrained. But that night, she did feel relieved that Rin didn't end up getting married. Lately, some strange things had been happening. During the return of the mock exams, a poor student named Kira somehow scored a perfect 100. She credited it to a smart pen. Rumor had it that it wasn't sold in stores, but handed out at random by a mysterious man. Some students who scored perfect marks with it reportedly disappeared afterward. Kira didn't believe it until the pen dragged her away. Tsubasa gave chase. Outside, many people were being pulled through a portal by the pens. Rin flew in to investigate. While following the crowd, he was suddenly attacked by a girl who thought he was a corrupted shinigami. Though Rin tried to explain, she wasn't the listening type, more like the type who lectures while attacking. Meanwhile, the real corrupted shinigami appeared and lured people in. The girl and Rin launched an attack. He fled into a bag, and they chased him into a production factory in the afterlife, since capturing these guys meant earning a reward. Rin charged in and made quick work of things, saving the students. The girl was impressed by his strength and introduced herself as Ajiha, a shinigami specializing in hunting corrupted ones. When Rin asked if she wanted to split the reward, she declined, and he disappeared immediately. He returned home with the reward and promised Rokuman a feast. Somehow, AJ had tracked him down. Thinking she had come to claim a share, Rin quickly hid the money. But Ajiha was actually there to ask for his help. She explained how the corrupted Shinigami company had been doing cruel, unethical things. She used to admire her older sister, who was also a hunter of corrupted Shinigami. But one day, her sister left to go after the ringleader and never came back. Just last month, she received a letter from her sister saying she had a boyfriend, and that boyfriend turned out to be Sabato. Ajiha was sure her sister had been seduced by that creepy old man. Rokuman tried to clarify that Sabato was Rin's father, but Rin quickly silenced him. Ajiha still had no idea, and she now needed Rin's help to defeat the leader of the corrupted Shinigami. Rin initially didn't want to get involved, but after receiving another letter from his father begging for money to court women, he promised to help Ajiha. Overjoyed, Ajiha grabbed his hand in gratitude right as Sakura happened to show up. Embarrassed, Ajiha fled, and Rin, not wanting to waste time explaining, just asked why Sakura had come. She said she felt like someone had been watching her all day. Just as she said it, a mini cameraman appeared outside. Rin caught it and realized someone from the afterlife was monitoring her. It then self-destructed. Rin promised to help her, and as it turns out, the one spying on Sakura was none other than Sabato, who wanted to see what kind of girl Rin liked so much. Meanwhile, Sakura was clearly still bothered by the hand-holding incident between Rin and Ajiha. Then, a massive number of spirits surrounded her. Rin geared up to find the one spying on her. But suddenly, space shifted, a spirit path opened up and called to him. Sensing trouble for Sakura, he jumped in. Sakura had gotten lost in the spirit realm, and the ghosts clung to her, begging for salvation. She kept walking but somehow circled back to the same place. Where an ATM stood, the ghosts told her that depositing 10,000 yen would let one spirit pass on. It sounded like a scam. so she refused, soon realizing they were actually fallen shinigami in disguise. When they attacked, Rinne appeared and wiped them out. A blonde woman then showed up, introducing herself as Sabato's secretary and congratulating Sakura for passing the test. She presented them with a diamond ring as a wedding gift along with a 1 million yen debt note for it. Sakura declined, saying they were just classmates, clearly still holding a grudge over the hand holding. Ageha then dropped in, and the secretary was shocked to see her. Rokumin explained that the hand holding was simply Ageha asking Rin for help. During the ensuing battle, the secretary used smoke bombs to vanish, but Ageha sensed her and threw a coin attack that shattered her mask, revealing her to be Ageha's sister. Sabato arrived too. Ageha's sister explained she hadn't been tricked. She genuinely fell for Sabato's looks during a battle. She didn't expect he'd turn out to be the CEO of an evil company. Seeing Rin and Sabato's interaction, she realized they were father and son. Furious at being played for a fool, Ageha attacked them all. Sabato used the chaos to steal the 1 million yen ring and left behind another debt note for Rin. All four chased after him. Sakura still suspected Ageha liked Rin. They entered a maze Sabato had designed. Ageha was lured into a wrong path and trapped. Rin told Rokumin to escort Sakura back, while he went to save Ageha. Ageha woke up trapped in a spider web, only to be rescued by a shinigami who claimed to be an undercover agent in Sabato's company. He offered to work with her and asked her to sign a document. Trusting him, she signed it without question. Luckily, Rin arrived in time to reveal it was actually a debt contract and that the man was a fallen shinigami. Ageha didn't thank him and instead resented him for being the son of a scammer. They continued the search for Sabato, and Rin got to witness Ageha spending money like water. She didn't seem to care about being tricked. So Rin figured his help wasn't needed and left her to do what she wanted. Meanwhile, Sakura didn't return home instead. She went back to find Rin, but the town's residents began acting oddly, trying all sorts of ways to force wedding rings onto her. Then a flood of Rin lookalikes arrived, all trying to give her rings. The real Rin appeared and chased them away, then tried to place a ring on Sakura's finger. But her icy glare made him nervous, and it turned out he was also a fake. Rokumin asked Sakura what she liked about Rin, and she said she wasn't sure. Rokumin admitted it was understandable who would fall for a poor guy. Marrying him would mean sharing his debt. Sakura told him to stop babbling. The real Rin was suffering from a headache, not only dealing with the misunderstanding, but also having to shoulder a bunch of debt thanks to his father. Thinking about Sakura helped ease the stress slightly. Then he heard someone crying for help. Ageha was being attacked by a demon worth 1 million yen. Rin slashed it down in one blow. Debt cleared. Terrified, Ageha hugged him tightly, thinking she was going to die. Rokumin arrived right then, but at this point, no explanation would be believable. Sakura and Rokumin left the two alone. That night, Rin couldn't sleep. During summer break, Sakura went to the pool with Kira and Miho. There, she saw a ghost, a very energetic girl who kept trying to communicate with the living. After returning from the pool, Sakura wanted to find Rin to tell him, but remembering the scene of them hugging made her hesitate. Tsubasa appeared and offered to help her, but he ended up getting heatstroke because he didn't wear a hat. Meanwhile, Rin was meeting with a client. The girl told him that she had gone to the amusement park with her boyfriend, and after they went through the haunted house, nothing seemed wrong at first. But when they came out, her boyfriend looked like this. He seemed to have had his soul sucked out. At that moment, Ageha sent a letter asking Rin to come to the amusement park because she had important information, though it sounded like something that would cost him money. Meanwhile, Sakura told Tsubasa about the ghost. When he saw Sakura in a swimsuit, he got extremely excited and invited her to the amusement park to investigate. According to the rumors they heard, the ghost might be Rinne, a rising idol who died in an accident just before she was supposed to perform at the park. Tsubasa immediately assumed the girl was an evil spirit and tried to exorcise her quickly, so he could have more time to hang out with Sakura. Rinne got angry and left. Rin had just met up with Ageha, and from her outfit it was obvious she just wanted to have fun. But when she said the haunted house was connected to a fallen shinigami, he reluctantly agreed to come along. Just as they entered, Sakura and Tsubasa arrived. Tsubasa claimed to have found clues about Rinne and said she was hiding in the haunted house, but in truth, it was just a pretext to be with Sakura. They all went inside, but Sakura, being used to seeing ghosts, wasn't fazed by the scares. She spotted the real ghost, who ran away. Tsubasa grabbed Sakura's hand and chased after it. Acting like a happy couple, suddenly, his soul got pulled out, and he tripped. Rinne, hiding nearby, didn't understand why those two were even there. Tsubasa angrily threw his sandals around. While Sakura got separated from him while chasing the ghost, Rinne ended up getting hit by one of Tsubasa's attacks. Ageha took the opportunity to tie up Rokumin and head off on her own. When Rinne regained consciousness, he found himself at the bottom of a well with Ageha. Though she did get a little handsy, she had figured out the core issue. Every time a guy felt joyful from protecting his girlfriend, something was pulling out their soul. Suddenly, a spider startled Ageha and she jumped into Rinne's arms. Whether by coincidence or fate, Sakura arrived at that moment and saw the whole thing. One misunderstanding stacked upon another. Rinne tried to explain. Ageha got mad because he ignored her, and she summoned a bunch of gravestones that ended up scattering everyone. Rinne confronted Sakura and explained everything, that he was working on a case and that only those with impure hearts were getting their souls taken. The three spirits behind Sakura also agreed with Rinne. As for whether he had impure thoughts while alone with Ageha, that was up to her to judge. The three spirits didn't believe him and were suddenly pulled away. Fortunately, they escaped thanks to Ageha dealing with the corrupted shinigami. Rinne and Ageha then went to search for the others. Meanwhile, Rinne had been trying to sing to get people's attention, but no one could hear her, which made her angry enough to turn into a vengeful spirit and start firing off electricity. One bolt hit the haunted house, causing a blackout across the park. Rinne shielded Sakura, while Ageha and Tsubasa hugged each other by mistake, thinking the other was someone else. They were briefly happy only to immediately have their souls snatched. Rinne rushed in to save them, and Rokumin had finally found the culprit. They all sat down to talk. The culprit turned out to be a lonely virgin boy who had never experienced a date with a girl. He had died before getting the chance to go to an amusement park with a girl and ended up trapped in the haunted house. Seeing so many couples being affectionate made his jealousy pile up, so he started messing with them for fun. The corrupted shinigami were actually his friends and had been helping him out. Outside, Rinne was furiously shouting through a loudspeaker, demanding people to pay attention to her. Rinne rushed out and asked for her autograph, which calmed her down. Then, the haunted house boy brought out all the people whose souls he had snatched so they could also ask for Rinne's autograph. All she ever wanted was attention. However, after signing autographs, she refused to pass on her true wish was to go to Hollywood. Yeah, sounds like she's not moving on anytime soon. At that moment, the haunted house boy came out and confessed his feelings to Rinne. He had always admired her from afar, but never dared approach because he didn't think he was worthy. But now, he finally had the courage. When Rinne took off her glasses, she turned out to be exactly Sakura's type, a handsome guy, so she announced her retirement and moved on peacefully with him. That night, both Rinne and Sakura had thoughts weighing on their minds. Ever since Rinne saved her from the demon, Ageha had always been thinking about him. But to be sure of her feelings, she decided to confirm it for herself. At school, Rinne was starving because he hadn't received any request letters or offerings. As he was deep in thought, Ageha suddenly appeared and hugged him from behind. She needed confirmation. Sakura happened to witness the whole thing. Well, no point in explaining anything now. The next day, Rinne tried to talk to Sakura, but she treated him like he was invisible. Meanwhile, Ageha prepared a lunchbox for Rinne. She planned to win over his stomach first, since the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. While flying, she was suddenly attacked by Tsubasa, who mistook her for an evil spirit. Upon hearing her plan, he promised to help once Rinne was out of the picture. He'd make a move on Sakura himself. At school, Ageha brought lunch to Rinne. He wanted to maintain his dignity to prove there was nothing between him and Ageha, but he was so hungry that he ended up taking the lunch back to the old school building to eat. Then Rinne tried again to approach Sakura, but every time she ignored him. Tsubasa showed up trying to matchmake Rinne and Ageha. Rinne explained they weren't dating, saying he hated her was going too far. But just then Sakura passed by. So he does like her, huh? Rin had no idea why Sakura always showed up at the worst possible moments. At lunch, Rin was determined to talk to her. Rokumin arrived carrying another lunch Ageha had made. Tsubasa fanned the flames, making things even more chaotic. Rin explained it was just a thank you gift, but what kind of gift is full of hearts like this? Rin wished they could just be alone. Meanwhile, Ageha got a call from her grandmother, who told her she'd brought the wrong lunchbox. The one she gave Rin was actually the wish lunchbox, which would grant any wish. But the one who fulfills it is an evil spirit who trades the soul for the power to grant it. When Ageha arrived at school, everyone had already been teleported out of the classroom, only Rin and Sakura remained. She explained everything to Tsubasa, who panicked and tried to find a way in before Rin made any weird wishes with Sakura. Inside, the evil spirit appeared and offered Rin 3 wishes. He had already used one, with 2 remaining. But Rin ignored it and focused on explaining things to Sakura. He and Ageha were just friends, nothing more. Sakura casually replied, "Yeah, so what?" Rin realized they were never really anything to begin with, so why was he explaining? He just felt like she was mad and didn't want to talk to him. He truly had no idea what she was thinking. The spirit kept talking behind him, annoying Rin until he told it to shut up, which triggered the second wish. It then pushed further, offering to help him understand what Sakura was thinking. Rin started to waver, but just then Ageha and the others broke through the door and destroyed the spirit. Ageha declared that Sakura shouldn't be getting close to Rin anymore. Sakura, looking cold, asked why she should listen to that. Ageha got flustered. She hadn't thought they might actually be dating, and that she was the third wheel, so she ran off. Sakura didn't understand why, but when Ageha said not to get close to Rin, her heart resisted. Meanwhile, Ageha, in her moment of heartbreak, got another call from her grandmother. As for Tsubasa, he was still fuming, thinking something must have happened between Rin and Sakura when they were alone. Suddenly, the evil spirits that hadn't been fully destroyed began running wild, granting wishes by exploiting people's emotions. One of them targeted Tsubasa, tempting him into making a wish. Ageha rushed in and dealt with it, then continued going after the rest. The spirit found a heartbroken girl, who then made the final wish. It was about to consume her soul when Ageha arrived. The girl had wished to forget the boy she loved because he already had a girlfriend. Ageha deeply sympathized, as she too was the third wheel. But the girl said she didn't regret loving someone. What's wrong with loving someone, even if they're taken? Her words struck a chord in Ageha. Back with the 2 awkward ones, they met again at the request box. After a brief silence, Rin asked to borrow money from Sakura to carry out a spirit banishing job, and just like that, they made up. Suddenly, Ageha appeared and offered to hire him. The payment was too good to refuse. Well, back to square one. In the days that followed, Tsubasa invited Sakura to help him dig up a spirit stone he had buried. The reason he asked her was because he had buried it under the haunted cedar tree at their old elementary school, where the 2 of them had once studied together. It was a huge tree in the schoolyard, and the nostalgic feeling made Sakura agree to go with him. Tsubasa planned to use this chance as a date with her. Miho and Rika asked Rin if he wasn't going to do anything, but he was still busy just trying to make ends meet. On their day off, Tsubasa and Sakura met at the elementary school. Tsubasa tried to act gentlemanly, but Sakura told him to hurry up. At the base of the cedar tree, there were many strange marks, and the soil seemed to have already been dug up. An old janitor nearby told them the tree was haunted. It had injured many children, and every time someone tried to cut it down, strange phenomena occurred, making people too scared to approach it. Sakura felt the tree was very different now. When she was a child, it had felt warm and comforting to be near. From behind, a sudden attack came. A vengeful spirit using a giant yo-yo. Tsubasa refused to fight a kid, but he soon noticed the spirit stone embedded in the yo-yo. It seemed to have been defiled. The spirit hurled Tsubasa away. Sakura realized the spirit was Yuta, a boy she used to play with as a child who had died in an accident. She tried to bring back his memories, and just as he started to remember, Tsubasa hit him on the head with his holy book, causing Yuta to go berserk and attack wildly. The yo-yo flew straight at Sakura, but Rin appeared just in time to knock it away. Yuta, now furious, believed Sakura was his enemy. Back then, yo-yo battles were really popular at school, and Yuta was like a top-ranking pro fighting in a beginner zone. He could pull off any move, from Dragon Awakens to Hourglass Spin. But then he started flipping up girls' skirts with his yo-yo. Sakura stepped in to stop him, which made him hold a grudge. Could it be that what he regretted most was never flipping Sakura's skirt? At that moment, Rin flew beside Yuta and used a separation incense stick. It cost 20 yen and could split a vengeful spirit from the host. Since Rin had earlier noticed two voices inside Yuta, soon after, the spirit flew out and possessed Tsubasa's spirit stone. Holy ashes had no effect on it, so Rokuman offered the separation incense stick again, this time at 2,000 yen, 100 times the original price. With no other choice, Tsubasa used it and successfully retrieved his stone. What Yuta regretted most was hidden under the tree. It was Sakura's yo-yo. Back then, out of frustration, he had stolen it and buried it there. Though he was hard to deal with, he had always been a good kid who helped his friends. Yuta wanted to return the yo-yo to Sakura, and once she accepted it, he moved on peacefully. Afterward, the group went out to eat. A week passed, and Tsubasa was still bitter that his plan to go out with Sakura had been ruined by Rin and the spirit. Although he recovered the spirit stone, it was tainted and would only attract more spirits. Just as he was stuck not knowing what to do, Masato appeared, taking advantage of his resentment, and handed him a curse book that, when used with the spirit stone, would create a curse aimed at Rin. However, Tsubasa hadn't sunk that low. He threw a trash can at Masato, chased him off, and tossed the book away. Meanwhile, Rin, after a long wait, finally received an offering of preserved peaches, something he'd always wanted to try. Though he didn't dare eat it, he decided he would give it to Sakura as a gift, since she had helped him a lot, and also because he owed her a ton of money, including interest. While Tsubasa was still brooding, Sakura came to him and gave him some snacks, of course, with no hidden meaning, since her mom had made a whole bunch, leaving him disappointed. She also returned the curse book, thinking it was his. From afar, Rin came with the peach box to gift her, but Tsubasa's jealousy unintentionally triggered a lightning curse from the book, striking Rin and damaging the peach gift. Tsubasa panicked, threw the book away, and ran, angry at himself for being so petty over a guy who was broke. He even blamed Rin for using his poverty to get closer to Sakura. But then he accidentally touched the curse book again when Rokuman came to return it. A flock of crows appeared and ate all the snacks that Sakura had given to Rin. Tsubasa, terrified, ran away, feeling that this was divine punishment. The next day, Rin received a lot of food with no requests, just telling him to keep a pendant for safety. And that person was Tsubasa. After yesterday's events, Tsubasa realized that Masato hated Rin and might use him to get back at him. Therefore, the pendant he gave Rin was something that could counter any curse. However, when Tsubasa saw Rin and Sakura together, his jealousy flared up, and in anger, he slammed the table, causing a rainstorm to appear right over Rin's head. The cursed book reappeared on Tsubasa's table. Rin realized he had been cursed. Sakura came to ask for Tsubasa's help, telling him that cursing others was really bad. Tsubasa felt guilty, afraid that if Sakura found out it was him, she would hate him. Tsubasa ran off to deal with Masato. First, he went to the shrine and burned the book, then went to find Masato. Unexpectedly, the book fell on Rokuman's head. Rin began to suspect, feeling the dark aura from Tsubasa. Meanwhile, Tsubasa was using the spirit stone to lure Masato. When he appeared, Rin immediately attacked, ready to unleash his anger on him for ruining his food. Tsubasa had set up a summoning circle and a trap once Masato appeared. It would be over. Once again, Sakura showed up holding a book, and Tsubasa didn't understand why it was there. The magic circle activated, bringing both Rin and Masato into it. The curse unintentionally triggered, causing Rin to fail against Masato. Masato then revealed that it was Tsubasa who had cast the curse, and that if he did it again, Rin would be finished. Tsubasa was torn, feeling guilty because Sakura trusted him so much. But when he saw her care for Rin, his jealousy resurfaced, and with Masato's taunting, he activated the curse. But it backfired, hitting himself. He punished himself for being weak, even though he knew doing the right thing also involved pain. He then dropped a large piece of tofu on himself, giving Rinne a hearty meal. The self-imposed curse helped purify the spirit stone a little, and with a few more repetitions, it would be fully cleansed. Masato returned to taunt Tsubasa, saying that now if he cursed anyone other than himself, the spirit stone would be tainted again, and Tsubasa would be sent to hell. Rin realized this, and just as Tsubasa was about to curse Masato, he threw the anti-curse pendant at Masato, causing Tsubasa to be hit. Thanks to that, the spirit stone was cleansed. Tsubasa summoned battle spirits to help him, and together they overwhelmed Masato, forcing him to flee. Tsubasa then apologized to Rin for what he had done, not caring if he got free meals, so they went out to eat together. Meanwhile, in the realm of the gods, Ageha was chasing a fallen death god when she encountered a man among their ranks. He was a reaper clerk named Kine. Kine scolded Ageha for ruining his plan, asking why she had bothered with these low-level grunts when she could have just let them escape and followed them to find the leader's company. Humiliated, she introduced herself, and Kine mocked her more, saying that her family had disowned her and her older sister wasn't much better, running off with a man. They were both useless. Her self-esteem shattered. Ageha cried to Rin. Death gods were invisible to ordinary people, and those who could see them found them troublesome. She told Rin about her encounter with Kine. Unlike death gods, reaper clerks were responsible for managing the records to ensure no one died with unspent life. Of course, Kine despised fallen death gods and also knew Rin. Just as she finished speaking, Kine appeared. He was Rin's creditor, and with the huge debt he owed, Rin would never be able to repay it in his lifetime. So Kine had come to take Rin's remaining lifespan as payment. Rin didn't remember owing him anything, so Kine reminded him that when his mother divorced and remarried, the man she married turned out to be Rin's father. He had swindled money from both mother and son, leaving behind a pile of worthless collateral. And then, unable to afford high school, Rin had missed out on his dream. Instead of going to high school, Kine took a job at the Fate Management Bureau. Though it had nothing to do with Rin, the sins of the father affected the son. Kine destroyed Rin's scythe with a single blow and took something from him, casually snatching his cloak as well. Rin's body became cold, like a corpse, because Kine had taken his life force. To get it back, Rin had to find the fallen death god company by 10 or else Kine would sell Rin's life force, meaning Rin would die. They had no idea where the company was, and Ageha had no leads. Rokumin came running with breadcrumbs for Rin's lunch, but when it saw Rin's cold body, it thought that the three of them had killed him. Rokumin quickly ran back to report to Rin's grandmother, but Sakura stopped it and explained everything that had happened. They needed Rokumin to lead them to the realm, but Rin's soul told them to stay behind because only he knew how to handle this situation. However, once they entered the spiritual realm, everyone followed him. In reality, Rin only wanted someone to guard his body, and now he was in a very unfortunate situation. At the realm, they reached the Fate Management Bureau where Kine worked, but the guards wouldn't let them in and were ready to attack. The group ran off but got separated from Rin. His soul was being drawn towards the cycle of reincarnation. Luckily, someone saved Rin just before he passed on. The woman then led the group to her home. The villa was large but lacked lights due to a power cut. It was so dark that she spilled tea on Tsubasa. She remembered that her son had brought home something useful, and she took out Rin's life force, using it as a makeshift lamp. Rin tried to stop her, but just then, Kine returned, and his mother had ordered sushi. She was the one who had been deceived by Sabato, still unaware and proudly mentioning that he sent her love letters every month. Upon inspection, all the letters asked for money, and he even had the audacity to take pictures with his girlfriend while continuing to ask for funds, much like a blood-sucking leech. Despite this, Kine's mother still believed it was a legitimate job. Rin wanted to speak up but was stopped by Kine, fearing it would hurt his mother. Sabato's company, the Fallen Death God Company, was established after he deceived Kine's mother for money, making her the largest shareholder. Sakura also proved that the debt papers with Rin's seal were fake, but Kine didn't care and dragged Rin outside. Leaving the others locked in the shed, Kine fought Rin outside, and inside the shed, Sakura found a sealed box for Rin with a note saying it was for him. Rokumin saw that only Rin could open it, and that such sealed items were usually powerful weapons or tools. They had to find Rinne quickly. Ageha then broke the door and escaped, while the life force remained with Kain's mother. During the battle outside, Kain kept targeting Rinne's cloak because it was the only thing preventing his soul from being sucked into the reincarnation cycle. For those who forgot, the cloak allowed the living to become ghosts, and ghosts wearing it became tangible. Rokuman brought the items, and Rinne remembered that it was a birthday gift from his grandmother. But it had been stolen by his father before he could open it as a child. Seizing the opportunity, Rinne called out for the weapon. But inside was only a ring. Kain attacked Rokuman, causing everything to fall. He then seized Rinne's cloak and forced him into the reincarnation cycle. Rokuman tried to help by passing the ring to Sakura, and as Rinne touched it, the three of them were sent somewhere else. Ageha and Tsubasa were worried, thinking they had passed on. But Kain was not so sure. If he remembered correctly, that ring was the Judgment Ring, a tool only saints above the god level possessed. Its power was to bring the user to the one who caused all the trouble for the owner, meaning Rinne's father. Meanwhile, Rinne was bowing his head, apologizing to Sakura for thinking she had been drawn into the reincarnation cycle with him. After a while, they heard Kain's mother's voice, and it turned out they were in Kain's house. Sabato had come to borrow money from her, and when he found out there was none, he suggested selling Kain's life force. Rinne punched his father and forced him to return the debt papers. Just as Kain's group returned, he became furious upon seeing the old man, Sabato, deceiving his mother, and his mother even stepped forward to protect Sabato. At that moment, Ageha boldly entered and acted flirtatiously in front of Kain's mother, who surprisingly didn't get angry and believed they were just siblings. They were both scheming to deceive Kain's mother for money. Taking advantage of the chaos, Rinne snatched back his life force, but Kain noticed and attacked. However, the Judgment Ring protected him. Then the true opportunists appeared. Sabato and Ageha shamelessly stole items and fled, despite the house already being poor. It was now also robbed. However, when they reached the gate, Kain intercepted them, and it turned out the life force was a fake to lure Sabato out. He had hidden the real one in an important place. Sakura suspected it was in the shed, so they headed there to search. Kain stopped them, and Rinne stepped forward to confront him. Ageha lent him her scythe, and while Kain was distracted, the three of them entered the shed. Inside, they found many life forces, and Tsubasa came up with a plan. Outside, Rinne and Kain were fighting fiercely, while Kain's mother called for sushi and invited Sabato and his lover inside to eat together. Kain was at a loss for words with his mother. Tsubasa's group returned with the life forces and threw each one at Rinne to see which was real. But all of them were fake. Kain's mother invited everyone to eat sushi together, and despite their poor household, they ate sushi every day. Rinne couldn't eat since he had lost his cloak and felt extremely cold. In fact, his body in the physical world was being drenched in rain, so his soul was also affected. Seeing this, Kain's mother invited him to use the heater, which was powered by Rinne's life force. Kain attacked, but the Judgment Ring blocked him. Rinne successfully regained his soul's fire. Kain was very displeased with that holy artifact. Sabato revealed that the ring didn't protect its owner, but only activated when the owner was unjustly attacked. Despite being a filial son who cared deeply for his father, and even paid his father's debts, stealing someone else's life force had gone too far. Kain had reached his limit and, despite holding back for his mother's sake, couldn't anymore. He exposed Sabato's true nature to his mother. But the old man fled. Tsubasa's group chased him, but they lost track of him. In fact, he hadn't run away, but had returned to continue stealing. Rinne and Kain saw through this trick, and Rinne used the Judgment Ring to capture both Sabato and Ageha. However, they managed to escape, leaving their loot behind. In the end, they couldn't do anything to Sabato, and Kain couldn't catch Rinne either because of the protective ring. He decided to temporarily let Rinne go. Kain's mother then bought expensive melons and invited everyone to eat, which might explain why their family was so poor. Later, the ring no longer led Rinne to Sabato, as the old man had done something to constantly shift his position. Recently, strange spirits had been appearing in Sakura's house, something she normally wouldn't pay attention to, but the number was so unusual that she couldn't ignore it. The next day, she told Rinne about it and asked him to come check her house. Rinne promised to help, and they agreed to meet after school. Though Rinne looked cold on the outside, inside he was as happy as if it were a festival. Tsubasa sensed something was wrong. In the afternoon, Sakura turned down an invitation to hang out with Miho and Rika and went home to prepare. Meanwhile, Rinne was hesitating between 2 boxes of fruit to decide which would make a better gift. Rokuman called him back, saying there was an auction for death tools today and they might find something useful. Tsubasa declined to join and suggested Rokuman go in his place. Ageha appeared, inviting Rinne to go together, but he used smoke bombs to escape. Tsubasa shared his suspicions with Rokuman and Ageha, and to figure out where Rinne was going, Rokuman used magic threads to trace Rinne's path. Meanwhile, Sakura was cleaning her room, thinking this was the first time a boy had come to her room. Shortly after, the doorbell rang, and when she opened the door, the whole group was waiting outside. Tsubasa gave her flowers, and Rinne handed her a box of fruit. Sakura told him not to be so polite, so he put it away and decided to eat it himself. Ageha appeared too, as she wore a demon world ribbon that worked like Rinne's cloak. They went into Sakura's room to investigate. Ageha thought the problem could be solved by simply eliminating it, without needing to investigate further, but Rinne didn't find it that simple. At first glance, Sakura's house seemed like an ordinary one, with ghosts appearing as a common occurrence in any house, so it wasn't something to worry about unless you're watching this and checking if someone is behind you. However, the frequent appearances of spirits had only started recently, meaning there was something in the house before that kept them away. Ageha found it too annoying and summoned a dog to chase the spirits, but it ended up chasing her as well. Rinne decided to deal with this issue. But first, he had to handle these two. In the spirit realm, Rinne's grandmother was hosting an auction, and by the end of the session, she still hadn't seen her grandson. Back in the human world, Rinne took out several sample tools. First, he summoned an artificial evil spirit to fight a real evil spirit, but it switched to attacking Tsubasa and carried him away. As for Ageha, Rinne used a magic pen to draw a path that sent her away as well. After that, they both returned, and Rinne used more tools to drive them off. He then used sealing ice to cover the house, preventing them from coming back. Finally, he had time to deal with Sakura's situation. He asked her to recall if she had thrown anything away or broken something recently. Looking at Rinne's sample tools, Sakura remembered that she had once gone out with her grandmother, and when she returned to the human world, she had been given a sample of some sort. She took out an hourglass, but it used to have multiple colors, and now it was entirely black. Rinne immediately recognized it as an exorcism hourglass and explained that the black color meant it had expired. All they needed to do was replace the sand. After changing the sand, the spirits immediately fled, and it would remain effective for the next 10 years. However, Ageha and Tsubasa accidentally broke the hourglass. Furious, Rinne hit both of them on the head. With no other choice, Rinne shamelessly went to ask his grandmother. She told him that the item had stopped being made as a sample and was now a main product, and naturally, it wasn't cheap 20,000 yen. Rinne reluctantly bought it, planning to ask Sakura to pay him back, but seeing her smile, he decided to continue munching on his bread. Recently, there had been a shocking event in the spirit realm. The reward money for the Fate Management Bureau had been stolen, and the transporter Kine was facing a major issue. They issued a search warrant for the suitcase. The group noticed that it looked exactly like the one Rinne had. He admitted that it had been there when he woke up, and when he opened it, it was full of money. Rinne nearly fainted from the amount, the largest sum he'd ever seen in his life. Rokuman suggested they take some and burn the rest, then escape abroad. Rinne, though poor, wasn't greedy. Kine appeared demanding the money back, something Rinne hadn't taken, and the evidence was undeniable. Suddenly, a puff of smoke appeared, taking Rinne and the money away. How could he explain himself now? Kine angrily pursued Rinne, and Sakura was suspicious. If Rinne really had stolen it, staying behind would be too obvious. Indeed, the mastermind behind this was Masato. He was actually a victim in this case. The story was that once, he came to the spirit realm to buy fireworks for a prank, but as he was leaving, a Ferrari sped toward him, crashing into him. That was when the suitcase was swapped. Masato didn't know and placed it in Rin's room, where it would explode like fireworks. However, he figured it wasn't such a bad thing. When Kain arrived, he handcuffed Rin along with the suitcase. Rin wasn't stupid. He shouted, "Run, boss!" and dragged Masato along, so someone else would take the blame. Back in the spirit realm, they weren't sure if this was the stolen money, so they needed to check the spot where Masato was hit by the Ferrari. The fireworks shop owner came forward to testify that Masato had indeed had an accident, as he had come to buy fireworks the day before without paying and even threw fireworks at the shop owner. So being hit by the car seemed like karma. As for Kain, Sakura asked how the money had been stolen, recalling the moment when Kain went to withdraw the money and left with the suitcase. There was a van selling suitcases that passed by at the same time. Just then, an explosion had caused a commotion, making people panic and crash into Kain. When he regained consciousness, there were many suitcases around, meaning it could have been swapped while he was unconscious. The group went to the scene and met Rin, but Kain didn't care for explanations and rushed to attack. Masato tried to attack from behind, but Rokuman and Ageha stopped him. The scene was chaotic, and Tsubasa seized the opportunity to pull Sakura for tea. However, a stray bullet hit him, and he ended up joining the commotion. At that moment, the fireworks shop owner gave Sakura a promotional crowd dispersal bomb, encouraging her to use it freely. She then gathered everyone together. In summary, when Masato threw fireworks at the shop owner, they triggered a horse that rammed into Kain, which then continued to attack Sakura. In the chaos, the suitcase was swapped. Everything was Masato's fault. Ageha made Kain apologize for the misunderstanding, but his pride wouldn't allow it. Just then, Masato turned on them and snatched the suitcase. He wasn't after money but wanted to make Rin suffer. He scattered the money and planned to burn it. But the suitcase suddenly bit him, as Rin had preemptively placed a sticker on it. Depending on the type of sticker, it would have different effects. And since Rin had applied the guard dog sticker, the suitcase relentlessly attacked Masato. With that, everything was settled. Kain tried to apologize, but Rin took 10,000 yen as payment for retrieving the items and the sticker. That way, they owed nothing to each other, and Kain left. Back home, Rokuman calculated that the sticker only cost 10 yen, while Rin ended up spending 10,000. Christmas was approaching, and Ageha was busy preparing a romantic dinner for her and Rin. She had bought a lot of things, and was even tricked into buying a dubious item that promised to strengthen her bond with her lover. Upon returning to the human world, she went looking for Rin, but was distracted by a house full of ominous energy. Meanwhile, after much hesitation, Rin bit the bullet and bought a 150 yen cake for Christmas. Happily skipping back home, he received a distress letter from the house, which turned out to be from the same ominous house. When Rin entered, he encountered Ageha and was about to leave, but was stopped. Both were trapped in a very powerful barrier. Ageha saw this as an opportunity to get closer to Rin. Sakura, walking with a friend, began talking about a house that was beautifully decorated every year but suddenly had all its residents move away and sell the house. Perhaps because of the family's lingering feelings, the house's lights would turn on every year even though no one was there. Just then, the abandoned house appeared, causing both of Sakura's friends to run. Hearing a noise, Sakura went to investigate, only to meet Ageha and Rin, and she was unintentionally trapped with them. They checked the surroundings and found no spirits in need of exorcism. So the issue lay with the house. Sakura mentioned a rumor, and Tsubasa appeared, explaining that the owner of the house was celebrating Christmas elsewhere, and the house needed to be offered to every year for the spirits to move on. He had been hired to do this, but the offerings had been left outside. In short, the house just wanted to experience a warm Christmas, so they decided to host it there. They decorated it beautifully, but they were missing a cake. Rin grew uneasy because cakes were expensive, and now they had to divide one among everyone. Before they could bring it out, they needed to find a way to get Tsubasa's food outside. Although no one could go outside, objects could. Ageha used her side to hook it, but it accidentally sliced through the chicken box. And then the dogs and cats ate everything. Ageha and Tsubasa blamed each other. Rin, gritting his teeth, brought out the cake. The house was content and the spirits moved on with the cake, leaving Rin heartbroken. Tsubasa scolded Rin for not bringing it out sooner, but he didn't understand Rin's financial struggles. Hearing this, Sakura offered to invite him to her house, but the others stopped her and suggested holding the Christmas party at Rin's place instead. After a hearty meal, they played a game of cards, with a rule that the loser had to follow the winner's orders. Ajiha was determined to win and kick everyone out to be alone with Rin. In the first round, Rokuman won and Ajiha lost. It asked her to buy drinks. In the next round, Ajiha lost again, and she had to buy food. Several rounds later, she continued to lose. Everyone advised her to stop, but she stubbornly kept playing. Rokuman won again and asked her to buy a cake. Ajiha grudgingly went out to buy it. Snow began to fall as Ajiha walked alone. She stumbled and felt lonely, questioning what she had done wrong when she only wanted to be alone with Rin. As she cried by herself, Rin appeared and draped a scarf over her. A scarf that Sakura's mother had knitted for everyone. Ajiha was overjoyed. Later, they all shared the cake, and the anime series ended here, though there were still 2 more parts for you to find and watch.